It's fair to say that the TaylorMade Stealth driver in 2022 was the revolutionary breakthrough product of the year. It tested well, it played well, it had a big story with a new 60-layer carbon face. For 2023, Stealth 2 hits the market, and straight out the gate it just looks quality, head cover, class. But I'm here at Concept Golf today to go through all of the ins and outs of TaylorMade Stealth 2, what it's about, who it's for, and who the different heads suit. Straight out the gate, it's quality. It's
a vastly different product to the Gen 1 Stealth, and no question about it. With the three head offerings in the Plus, the Stealth and the HD, I think they're really covering a broad market. I really feel they've learned a lot from the Gen 1, and in my opinion, with the carbon story that they're bringing to the market, I think they've a leg up, or they're definitely ahead of the game in a sense of this generation we're in with carbon and weight, be it saving or distribution to maximise velocity and speed.
TaylorMade sometimes come in for a bit of criticism about chasing speed, or not chasing speed, but like as in gains on yardage and this does that. What I really like about this product is TaylorMade have admitted, yes, last year's Stealth, it was revolutionary, it was new, it was cutting edge, and there was no real data there on it, so they launched a driver that was actually faster, did perform better, like across tour we can see it. You have to take it back 12 months. TaylorMade brought the initial Stealth out, and the claim was 1.3 mile an hour ball speed more. So that doesn't sound like an awful lot, but it was enough to get them away from titanium into carbon. What they've really done this year is changed the package, the profile, and made this more forgiveness.
Yeah.
And their tagline is, as you'll see behind me, forgiveness. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but they've done a great job with this driver, and I'm glad that they've went that route. They've made a great product, easier to hit for a much wider spectrum of player. Yeah. What are your initial thoughts on the look and feel of this driver?
I think for me, the initial look is very appealing. I think what they've done is they've been able to kind of straighten out the face, so there's less kind of curvature on it. It's going to appeal to a different type of player. Equally, and that's where I said in the opening, you've three different driver heads now, you know? So like I'm talking in the Plus head where it's a little bit straighter on the top line. I think the casing between the top of the face and where the crown sits into is very different, in a sense that slightly different change in colour into the gloss kind of carbon crown that they've put onto it, and it's a very appealing one in the initial kind of gripping of the club and attraction. But naturally, what's going on in the body of it, definitely a lot lighter. The face itself has gone through a different construction. Whilst it's still carbon, they've kind of been able to, yet again, kind of make it a little bit, kind of the face elongated, making it just a little bit more stable. So that's quite interesting for me, and that tells me that they did learn a lot from kind of Stealth Gen 1 into Stealth 2. And
on the face, like, it's inverted cone technology. We've seen this in TaylorMade product before. They've managed to strip, right, it's really minimal, really small. 3 grams of face weight. It sounds minimal, but it's big in the overall construction of this driver. There's 75% more carbon in this head than there was in last year's Stealth, which is huge. That is huge, and that gives a lot of weight. So how have they made this club more forgiving than the last? I'm assuming more carbon, more weight distribution, back further, all the usual tech jargon we're used to hearing about, but it really does work. How have they made it work?
The interesting thing to answer your question is having less kind of titanium in the head and more carbon definitely means you got to be so precise with where you're positioning your weight. And for me, in manufacturing the face the way they have with that kind of inverted cone, it's another way of saying that it's a variable face thickness. Has given them better distribution of kind of missed shots across the face, or should I say better kind of reaction of missed shots across the face. The idea then of where they position the weight in the kind of for the Plus head right behind, but equally that additional weight and kind of heavier weight at the back, 24 grams up to nearly, and could go potentially heavier. I think that's the key thing that's going to give you the stability, because positioning that weight further back in the head gives you better MOI. So if that weight is closer to the face, your MOI goes down and you get a lot more twist. So not only with lightening the chassis, positioning the weight as far back as possible is giving you that is giving you that stability.
Let's break down each individual head, talk about which one. So start off with Plus. Obviously, you've got the adjustability in Plus.
Yeah, so like it continues on that kind of storyline that has been around for quite some time with TaylorMade. So they still have the rail system for adjustability or movement of CG. That will help kind of move face position through the hitting area for be it draw or fade biased, or just to offer a bit more stability in a certain shape of shot. I think the big thing that they've gone to is they've kind of changed the face orientation. So the crown line and the face does look a little bit straighter, which is naturally going to be appealing to ultimately a better player. It's going to allow them shift it a little bit more, and there's not much of a, how would you say, a bit more bulge and roll, or a little bit more of that toe kind of viewing to the left. So it's quite an appealing driver. And then you've got the carbon face itself, that is now kind of just gone under a little bit of reconstruction, but coupled with the main body of the carbon head, it's definitely offering a different sound. It's offering a different feel. And I really think from my own kind of testing, I was very surprised with not only the sound, but the feel of the ball coming off the club face. I knew where I was striking it, but it was actually what the feedback I was getting through the club was a very soft, just a very different feel to what what I've ever gotten off a driver face. Yeah. It was quite outstanding.
There are fingerprints, like you saying about tour players and your Rorys, your Tigers. You look down on the Plus head. It is different than the others. There's subtle differences. You can't see the red on the skirt, on the sort of the inertia ring that's going around this driver. It's the only thing in this driver that I not that I'm not a fan of, that I was used to the old look of Stealth 1, the gloss top, the gloss, but that's just the thing. Yeah. It sits like a player's club. It's 2 degrees flatter for a start. So like the second, and I know it's the first thing, it's a Tiger stamp on this club that literally just sits like a player's club. But this is a club that, yeah, it's designed to be for the best players in the world, but you can easily fit a 20 handicapper. It breaks down those barriers of, because it's so forgiving and there's so much in the chassis of this club, it really does break down
I couldn't
barriers.
agree more, and that's the exciting thing for me as a fitter, and bringing it into kind of the conversation with all levels of the game, is that the forgiveness that they have within the package now is just far greater. So it just gives the golfer more options. That's the beauty about it, and it takes away that stigma of this driver's only for this kind of category of player. Far from, it's kind of nothing is off the table, and it's given everyone an opportunity to test it. Yeah. It's exactly to your point as well, might I add, is that you have the likes of Tiger, Rory, kind of giving TaylorMade feedback in driver performance and what they'd like and what they'd ultimately like to see in performance, feel in performance. And you can't look past that, like it's quite cool to have them as part of your R&D team. I wouldn't have produced those speed numbers. I was always kind of embarking on 170. Found it very hard to get over 170. So like with this Stealth 2, I'm kind of sitting 170 plus. All I have to do now is start controlling the kind of the movement and the curvature of the flight. But from the out, I've got speed, I've got energy. Like
with the same swing.
Yeah, I've worked really hard to try and carry it 290 plus. From out of the box, I've never carried it 296.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You've got a 304 carry there a few minutes
ago. Yeah,
well.
So like, for me, it would have taken me half the season to get to 296.
Like there we go, like 173, so it's creeping up and up. Does it feel more forgiving to you, like off the bat?
It does. I think the biggest thing, as I said in our kind of discussion earlier, was the feel off the face. It feels that bit softer. It feels I'm getting more compression and purchase out of it. All I got to get to grips with now is just the orientation and the awareness of the face. So that's just going to take a bit of practice. But as I said, from the outset, the power that it's offering as in ball speed, is sublime.
Into the standard Stealth 2 head then, you're holding it there. Yep. Looking down on the crown of that, you can see that little red trace going around, so it's a little busier on top. It's a higher MOI, a lot more weight in the back, where we're seeing with like 15 grams of weight on, you're going 25 and that. So again, they're optimizing that. A lot more carbon. I think there's only 50% more carbon in this one compared to 75%.
Positional weight in the heel.
Exactly. So it's just, it really is a forgiveness stick. Like it is so easy to hit this club, which is unusual. It's one thing, constant feedback that, like from friends that I let hit, or from, I'm out on a golf course and someone took my Stealth driver last year and they just go, oh, the feel is a little off. Like it felt a little dead to some people. Now it was really hot off the face. It was just because it was a new feel, but it wasn't as forgiving last year. And like for them to move into this level of MOI on this product and this level of forgiveness is a big step.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think back to our earlier introduction where there is more carbon brought into the overall chassis. The face has gone under that reconstruction, but it's the weighting system for me, and that balance of kind of 15, 25 grams, and they can be changed as well, by the way, to meet the needs of the individual. But again, the crown of the driver in the Stealth for me, I think with that red kind of border, if you will, I think it just encases the kind of the TaylorMade logo and encases the ball a little bit more. So it just gives the player a little bit more definition as to where they are in the club face, which can be quite appealing. And that's the key offering in these three driver heads, is that they're not for three different kind of category of player. They're for three different individuals, you know, because we're all different. And what you might kind of not be kind of overall won over with the gloss finish, I actually really am attracted to it and like it, you know. And again, I think another learning point within Stealth is the heel weight. So the fixed heel weight for what they've probably learned is that this is actually a pretty good product. For me, in fitting Gen 1, it was so stable. And when I was kind of in that kind of place where Plus is good numbers speed-wise, but just unstable, put Stealth in and all of a sudden you have your stability back, and then you work on getting your speed back. So I like the way they've brought this heel weight in, because it will bring in a little bit more stability. But when you move weight into the heel, you will actually generate more feel for the golfer.
Yeah, and as well as that, it's an active area of the club face as well. So I know when we were on the initial launch of this, we were actually doing it with Nick Doherty out in Dubai, doing the launch of this, and like it's the one thing that he picked up on straight away. The heel of this club is more active. If this driver was around 20 years, or like today, if he had it 20 years ago, he said he'd be winning majors. Like, is that good? It's that good. You know, but it is. It's so to make that heel zone active and more forgiving. So into the HD product then, again, bigger weighting at the back is a 30 gram weight. I think 35 gram weight in the back of the HD product. This is the most forgiving product I think TaylorMade have ever produced. Yeah,
and exactly to that, it's again that weight story from 15, 25, 30, it's telling its own story. When you move weight back, you're making it more stable. The HD is a slightly different construction in the face, and does offer a little bit more kind of viewing of the toe. But again, for that category of player that I might offer, that individual that I might offer to, you again are giving someone that confidence that when they can see the face, that they're not going to hit that kind of left to right shot. You're giving them every opportunity to kind of neutralize it or even turn it into a draw.
Overall, yeah, what sort of numbers are you seeing out of this? Where does this fit in your overall spectrum?
If I can say it now, it's kind of going in my bag for 2023. So I have the 9 degree Stealth 2, Stealth 2 Plus with a 7X Ventus Black, and through all of my testing, and I've kind of a particular way of kind of going through kind of seeing which will suit myself, and I've kind of a couple of tests, other tests that I do with shape of shot, workability, feedback. Hands down, and I fully appreciate what I'm about to say, could be argumentative, but for me personally, with a carbon face, it gave me sublime feel. I loved the softness. It felt like I was really compressing the golf ball, but the stability it offered is second to none. I've never felt stability like it in a driver.
And that's a feel that you didn't have last year with Stealth. So like they're big, like people will say that, it's just a new paint job. They've done nothing with this, because you've other manufacturers, you know, going through like paradigm shifts and going through different marketing stories and different performance attributes. But they've really hit the nail on the head. They've made last year's product easier to hit, a refined package, and they're appealing to guys like you that would not traditionally be a TaylorMade player.
No, definitely not. And I think that's going to be the interesting kind of journey now, where I think we're seeing a big change afoot in the driver industry, is because there's so much good technology coming out. There's so many different kind of different stories within kind of each driver, that it can only nothing but attract people into testing it and seeing if it suits them.
Where's carbon face gonna go? Like, it's such a new concept still. We're only in year 2 of this. It's new to TaylorMade. I'm assuming other manufacturers are looking at it and testing it and doing, but the amount of data TaylorMade have, they're really going far down this. They made a statement last year, they're not gonna make a driver face in titanium again. And like, with the results of this year, how they've refined last year's product, they actually don't need to. Like, they really have hit on the sweet spot of performance, that you know they're going to eke stuff out of this, and to be able to come out and offer like a much more forgiving product than last year with similar technology, like this is only the start.
Yeah, and like as I said at the start of our introduction, they're ahead of the game a little bit. They have a full season of data on other manufacturers who have gone down this kind of carbon story. Still on the face side of it, who knows where they can manufacture or construct different face designs. I think it's quite interesting with that kind of inverted cone technology, that will they explore kind of tinning that out? Will they explore kind of maybe a different formulation of that? Because that ultimately across and up and down the face is going to be where you get your energy, coupled with where the weight position is. So I find it a great storyline. I think, yes, it's a bold statement as to what they came out with, in a sense of not going back into steel or titanium faces. But I think to be a part of it and to see it kind of evolve is quite cool, because I can definitely see the transition from what they're advocating to seeing it in flight and reading the data.
Again, for 2023, you know, this is going to be right up there with the best performing drivers of the year. We are going to do a separate video with Mark, fitting him into whatever his clubs are. We're going to get me fit. We're going to get all the Irish golfer team down, actually. All different handicap spectrum, all different players. See what driver suits who, but yeah, there's no doubt for 2023, Stealth 2 is going to be up there in all the tests, again as it was last year. Much more forgiving face, forgiveness again, there we go on that. It is coming in, as all drivers, you know, you'll get different RRPs, different shops that you go to, different stores, in around the 650 mark on the plus head, and about 20-30 euros cheaper on the standard Stealth 2 head. So again, yeah, do check out Stealth 2. It's going to be one of the biggest performers of the year. If you do like the videos, do subscribe to the channel as well. We'll have plenty more stuff coming from Concept Golf throughout the season. So thanks for tuning in, and yeah, Stealth 2, thumbs up from us.